10, 9.
You want answers? I want the truth!
Get ready for two guys who can't handle the truth.
I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
But we can. Dave Palumbo, Chris Aceto. RxMuscle.com presents Heavy Muscle Radio.
Welcome to another episode of Heavy Muscle Radio. I'm Dave Palumbo, and I'm joined, as always, by Chris, the technician Aceto, on this December 19th, 2016 day. We are in the week of Christmas 2016, Chris, and we're coming to the end of another year. I can't believe it. I feel like we just launched the year, and we're done already.
I know it. It's crazy.
Yeah, and you know what? This is the first Christmas I could... Well, actually, last year's Christmas, it was
No
very
snow?
warm in New York. I think it was like 70 degrees, so I got lucky last year. This year, I am even luckier because I'm not in New York, and it's 84 degrees every day, and I know you guys up there in the north are getting pounded with snows and cold weather and pipes freezing and all the wonderful stuff that comes along with that well, I shouldn't say that because I do have a rental house up there. I don't want to say I don't have to deal with it. But I don't have to deal with it in my own house, at least.
Yeah, you gotta be careful. You might not. I had pipes breaking, but New York could too if you.
Oh yeah. Well, I used to. You know what I stopped doing, and I don't know if this is a smart move from a landlord standpoint. I pay the electricity bill, I pay the water bill, I pay the oil bill that comes. You know why? Because if I don't, they don't order oil, and then the oil runs out, the heat goes off, the pipes freeze, the pipes burst, and major money. So I'd rather chase them for their utility bills every month, which luckily I have some good people, they've been paying me, but then have the pipes break, and I will not. It's amazing how people would not fill the oil tank up. In the middle of the winter, they'd be running it at like a 16th of a
20.
They would be ordering $50 worth of oil at a time. It lasts like a day. I'm like, are you guys insane? Are you insane?
Yeah. People don't even know what oil is because that's a Northeast thing where they come in a giant truck.
Yeah.
I mean, most houses are now heated with natural gas. So obviously, you just turn on your furnace and gas comes from the street and there's nothing to do.
I was going to convert over the house, Chris, but you know what happened? They wanted to charge me $35,000 to do it so that the whole block could have gas. I said, why would I pay so that my whole block can then tee into my line? If I'm paying $35,000, I want the gas myself. I don't want to share it with anyone, I said.
Well, it sounds like your cable down in Florida.
It's the exact same problem. So I kept it as gas.
No, oil is like an antiquated, in the Northeast, including Maine, you'll see, like at my parents' house, a truck pull up in front of their house, a big truck, and they have, like you'd pump gas, you pump oil into the basement, into a tank, and that's what heats the furnace. So if it's too icy, sometimes the oil trucks can't get out there, or if it's too snowy, or it's just odd that you have to have somebody come to your house and fill it up like they would fill up a car.
Normal people have the stuff topped off every week. They come regularly. They know when to come and they fill it. So they don't wait till it gets down to nothing. They fill
non-renters,
it up and top it off every week because this way you don't run out and you don't want the stuff to sludge at the bottom of the
filter
furnace and then it clogs and then you get no heat. So I've done away with that. I just fill it up myself. But the crazy thing is that you're right. It's like, remember no one remembers this, but they used to deliver milk every morning. The milkman would come.
Oh, I remember when I was little.
Yeah, there would be these glass bottles of milk with these little foil tops on it. You'd rip off the foil top, and then that would be our milk for the day. And there was a milk bin outside, and the milkman would come every day. And the old joke was the women were sleeping with the milkman, right?
Yeah, that's right. You know what's funny about before the UPS man, because there was no UPS in those days.
Right. That's right.
It's funny is I had a cousin who was a small investor in a small business where they brought the milkman back. A guy had an ingenious idea. He said, I'm going to deliver like expensive, right from the cow milk like in the olden days to people's houses, including in those old-fashioned looking trucks.
Really?
And he would, come to the Palumbo household or the Aceto household on a Monday and a Thursday and deliver, a gallon or whatever, and put it at your doorstep with a little dry ice chest, and just like in the olden days.
Right. Well, I'll tell you what. I'll tell you my milkman delivery story. So maybe about it had to be more than 5 years ago, but maybe about 7 years ago, I decided, someone had told me, look, this bullshit, Dave, that you can't drink milk because you're lactose intolerant, you don't know what you're talking about. You got to have raw milk, because raw milk that comes out before it's pasteurized has the enzymes in there to help break the milk down. I said, they do? What do I know? Once again, I should have researched it. So I read a couple things online. It seemed like plausible. So I said, all right. They said it's the best thing you can drink for yourself. I'm like, okay. So I somehow found a farm. I was going to drive up there. It was like 2 hours each way. That delivered raw milk to you once a week. It's called Uddermilk. I still get the the emails if I want to deliver. They always ask you because they don't deliver it. They'll just deliver if you tell them to deliver it. So I said, all right, deliver the milk products to me. So there was like milk, and there was like some cheese. It was all unpasteurized, and just raw from the cow. So I was all excited. I wake up in the morning. In front of my doorstep is the raw milk. Bring it in. It's thick. Raw milk, whole milk is like very thick. It's almost like cream.
Yeah.
And I noticed it had a weird smell. Now, that's the smell of the wild, so to speak. It smells like you're in a. All of a sudden, I smelled the cows. that they were milking right there. I thought, well, maybe it comes with the territory. What am I going to do? It didn't. To me, it didn't taste that good. I don't know. I don't know if it was spoiled. I don't think it was. But so I drank some milk. I don't even know how I had a glass of it, or something like that. And with I don't even know how I manipulated it around. But I'll tell you one thing. 2 hours later, I was pooping my brains out. The lactose intolerance was like double with the raw milk.
Maybe
And that was the end of the experiment. Never did it again. Threw it in the garbage. Poured it down the drain.
I sent you the email with the Chinese shrimp, right? Filled with antibiotics. Did you get that email?
Oh yeah, I think I did. I don't know if I opened it. I have to look at it.
The shrimp farms in China are located directly next to the pig farms, and when the pigs are blasted with tons of antibiotics, the antibiotics in a pig pass through him or her intact into the fecal matter.
Right.
And when that fecal matter, complete with it, the antibiotics, makes it into these shrimp ponds, and all the shrimp that the article, it was in Bloomberg.
I see it.
Showed that the shrimp in the United States are loaded with antibiotics.
At least they're not sick, right?
Yeah. Why do they give the cows? Why do they give cows antibiotics? Because it's a dirty environment, or because they help grow?
I'll tell you
exactly
why they do. Because cows don't eat grass anymore; they feed them corn. Why do they feed them corn? Because they fatten them up quicker. Because the corn is a pro-inflammatory fat, whereas the omega-3 fats that the cows can extract from the grass is anti-inflammatory. They get inflammatory issues, and then they're much more prone to disease because their immune systems don't work as well. So then they got to pump them full of antibiotics so that they don't get sick and transmit it to all the other cows. And so they're basically treating one issue because of the way they feed them. If they just fed the grass-fed cattle or bison don't get sick. They don't need to give them antibiotics. That's why they call they're organic, or they say they're antibiotic free, because you don't need to give them that, because that's the natural diet. Once you change the diet of the animal, now you got to pump them full of antibiotics. Same thing with the chickens. Chickens are supposed to eat seeds, flaxseed or any kind of seeds. They feed the chickens corn because it fattens them up faster. Plus the fact that they don't move. I read an article once that they took because chickens, when they eat corn, they don't digest the whole thing. I heard they took the chicken shit and they would feed the farm-raised fish with the chicken shit.
I read that. Yeah. That's right. I did read that. That's the tilapia in China that they feed the farm-raised shit.
Yeah, I think this is also in the article you just gave.
Chicken, yeah.
Dirty water from the pens flows into a metal pipe, which empties directly into a pond shared by dozens of geese. As the yellowish-brown water splashes from the pipe, tilapia flap and jump, hungry for an afternoon feeding.
Little antibiotic snacks.
That's where you tilapia. Think about how many pounds of tilapia does Kai Greene
Bodybuilders eat a year?
The Kai Greene used to eat like 1,000 grams of it a day. 1,000 grams of protein from tilapia a day.
Wait a minute. How many grams of protein was he eating in that video you made way back?
I think I calculated 800 or something like that.
But did he need the 800? I mean, was he on local? I mean, do you need 800 grams of protein?
I don't think so, but he obviously felt that he did. Worked for him. I don't know. He was a big eater. I think Kai Greene's cut back is eating a little bit, but I know back in the day he was a really, 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 really big eater. Tremendous amount of protein. He never was a carb eater. I will say that. He's always a very low carb eater because he's very sensitive to carbs. And George told me that I tell the guy, don't eat all the protein. It's just blowing your gut out. So if George did, George said he cut back his food a lot. So that's a possibility. So, which might have been the best thing he did for Kai. But it is when you're younger. I think you can handle more food. When you get older, you got to cut back your food. First of all, once you have all that muscle, it's not like he's trying to get bigger. So why does he need to eat 800 grams of protein a day? When you're trying to get big, you
I guess
pound the protein.
I guess there's nothing wrong with trying to get bigger, right? I mean, it is bodybuilding.
Right, but when you look at when you look at your physique, when he looks at his physique, do you think he says, "Wow, man, I need size"?
He probably does. I mean, I can't imagine
where would Kai need size? Like, just tell me. Like, if you had to just make what would you say? His calves need to come up? I don't know. I mean, he's got good calves.
No, he could use bigger pecs and bigger cap delts. Okay, that's it.
Kai, if you're listening,
otherwise he's he has more than enough muscle everywhere.
Up the protein to 800 grams a day. Chris Aceto says the pecs and the delts need to come up a little bit still. So sorry for that bad advice.
It's nitpicking. Otherwise, everything else is huge.
No, yeah, you're probably right. Anyway, it's funny. So we had the 1,000th episode of Muscle in the Morning this past Friday.
Jay told me. Yeah, Jay told me he gave you. No, but Jay, I haven't seen it yet. But Jay,
you gave us something.
I know. I did last minute, and you could hear my kids screaming in the background.
Yeah, I did.
And Jay had texted me to. He wanted to know if I had serenaded you because he did.
Jay gave us the best. It might not have been the best of the video clips because what happened was we asked it all the top known bodybuilders that we were kind of friendly with to give us a little video congrats or anyone who was involved with the show to put up on the site, and Jay gave us a clip where he basically said it was funny because he said if I want any real bodybuilding, information, I go to RxMuscle.com when I do. He didn't want to say he does it every day, but he said when he does go for information, he only goes to RxMuscle.com, which I thought was very nice.
Which means, he never needs any information. But if something is breaking, then
he'll only go to RxMuscle.
Yeah, exactly.
Which was great. So that was a real good endorsement. That was about as much of an endorsement as you're going to get from anyone. I mean, from Jay for anything. So that was fantastic. I thought it was a great endorsement. Some people were out of town. I know Lou Ferrigno wasn't in town. He was supposed to give us one. Lee Haney gave us a stellar video he sent in. I was really very pleased with that. Rich Gaspari gave us a great one. I was very happy with that. The funniest one, I thought, and you got to watch. You should have watched this. I should have made you watch it last night.
Yeah.
The funniest one is Jimmy Pilecki. It's the last one.
Oh, I knew you were going to say that.
I'm not going to tell you what he does. But it's really funny. I guess most people have watched it already, so I'm not ruining it for anyone. Jimmy, the last video is you see someone at the beach, like this creature swimming in the ocean, and you hear the Jaws music, Donna, Donna. Donna, 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 and all of a sudden, Donna, and then you see this person emerge from the water. It's Pilecki, and he's like, "What's up, everyone? Jimmy the Bull." I just want to say congratulations to the 100th anniversary. I'm drinking beers on the beach. I'm a little messed up, but congratulations.
Where? What beach? Not Long Island, right?
No, he's in Florida.
No, because I know he's crazy enough. Maybe he was. I mean, it's New Year's, and all over the United States, they have these fundraisers for in New England, actually, these polar bear swims.
Oh yeah, who used to be the president of the polar bears? Kenny Jones.
Who?
Kenny Jones.
You're kidding me? See that? There you go.
Actually, His grandfather was the president of the Polar Bears. He was the president of a rival group. Now, for those people who don't know what the Polar Bears are, they in the middle of the winter they go into like the Hudson Bay in New York Harbor there, and they jump in the probably they do it all over the place, but they jump in the water, freezing cold water. They think it like reinvigorates their cells and it's got youthful properties. So Kenny Jones was the president of the rival Polar Bear Club. He went with his group to the Hudson, and he was contest dieting, so he had like no body fat. I've told this story before. Yeah. He jumped into the Hudson and he almost died. They had to send like rescue workers in there after them because he went into shock. Because the whole idea behind a polar bear is he's got a lot of fat to protect him.
Yeah, that's right.
Kenny had no fat. He almost went down. They had to pull him out of the
I told you one of Serge Nubret's fat burning techniques, right? With going out into the cold air.
I got to shiver the weight off. Shiver.
He used to. He never did cardio. He didn't diet much. Serge Nubret
trained for 40 hours a day.
Yeah, he'd train like crazy. But he would also, at least when he was in Paris, he used to train in that stringer tank top and the short shorts.
Right.
And in between sets, he would go out. In between every set, he'd go out in the freezing Paris, like February weather.
Right.
And he'd wait until his body would start, his teeth would chatter. And then he would come back into the gym and train. And he realized somehow this burned more calories.
Either that or he's lucky he didn't get pneumonia or tear a muscle because he got so cold. Lunatic. There's been, that's something that like someone listening to the show would go try to do, not realizing that Serge Nubret was a genetic freak and that probably anything he would have done would have worked. Imagine if you would have worked at Serge Nubret, how good he would have been. Just get rid of all the crazy cockamamie stuff he did,
You know how I admire him so much. He had all kinds of kooky things, but he was very flexible in his thinking. I remember once he was the first guy to train Lionel Baiki, by the way.
Yeah, I think Lionel said that he knew him in the gym. I don't think he really trained him.
All right, so then I take that back. It must have been Hanny was his first trainer, I think. Then he switched to Dennis and then George. So he's running the gambit. Right. Chad will be next.
Probably had a few in between, I'm sure.
Who are we talking about? Serge. So Serge moves to California. This is like early 90s, like 91. I go into the gym. You see Serge pumping iron. It's like, wow, there's Serge Nubret.
Right.
So he kind of befriends me. And we work out together, this and that. And he's got this crazy system that he was training people at the time in California. And the crazy system is you do low carbs, you do no cardio, but you train with him. And you train for hours and hours a day.
You actually worked out with him?
Yeah. Oh, really? You get so sore, Dave. You couldn't even. That's where perks come into play. I mean, I didn't know about perks that day, but you'd get so sore. Like, your shoulders would get so sore training with him that you couldn't even hold a pen. Because, if you go in and you do like 100 sets and you train with Serge Nubret...
You're pushing.
Right? He's going to push you, and then you try to push... You're trying to push Serge, right?
Which is
it's like trying to push Arnold.
Yeah.
And he tries to push you back, so... Anyways, people were very, very, very critical when he came to California of his training system because, of course, Dorian was on his way up.
They were doing no sets, him and Mensa. Yeah, they were doing like...
Yeah, and so they say, how can they both be right?
Right.
And Serge, I remember him trying to think it through. And Serge said, you know what? I'm not going to argue with the people who say, how can they both be right? But they're both right, because I can't argue with Dorian's results, and nobody can argue with my results. Right. And I think Serge at the time was, he wasn't a spring chicken. He looked incredible, and he was probably I think he was 51 at the time.
Right, but Serge Nubret never had a lot of mass on his body. I mean, he had a good amount of size, but not. I mean, I don't think he wasn't a guy who was always putting muscle on. He kind of looked the same at all the shows he did. So maybe
you sound like the people.
Well, his system probably
people would say that to him, and
his system worked in the sense that it kept him in great shape. But I don't think he was his posing endurance was amazing from all the endurance he had from training so many hours a day. But probably, I'm sure he was a case of an excessive training. I don't think that most people could recover from what he would do, or would be a productive bodybuilder from what he did. But it worked for him. So you can't foo-foo anything because everyone's got their own thing going on. If it works for you, then do it. I always tell people there's no right or wrong way to do anything. It's just what functions and what doesn't function. And if it works for you, fine. Most people are not going to get results from that, and most people do that type of training system. It's going to be a failure for them. But if there's one crazy person out there who it works for, then terrific. That's why you can't say never, because there's always an exception to every rule. But just like Dorian's system doesn't work for everyone either, because him and Menser's, doing 2 or 3 sets for an exercise, not many people can stimulate a muscle enough in 2 or 3 sets. They just don't have the mental strength to do that. Yeah. So they need to do it. So I couldn't do it. So I would do more sets than that, but I still kept my volume down. I did better on low volume, heavy, high intensity, but I didn't do 4 sets. I did maybe 12 sets or 10 sets.
Well, Serge had a little Charles Glass in him as well. He once said that if he would make the claim, he says, I'm an artiste. And Michelangelo, he said he didn't paint the Sistine Chapel with one paintbrush. He had big brushes, little brushes, and tiny, tiny brushes for the detail. And that was in his mind, the reason you would have to change exercises or change the angles. Gotcha. So that the intricate change in angle would be like Michelangelo switching to a tiny, tiny paintbrush to get the details.
Well, it works a lot when you have a 20-inch waist and great proportion. Because when you have a 20-inch waist and you have 20-inch arms and 20-inch calves, details do make a big difference. Yeah. When you don't have that proportion, probably adding a half a pound of muscle to your body ain't going to do nothing. You're not going to notice it. So
yeah,
I always find that with the genetic freaks, but you etched a little here and etched a little there. I said, yeah, well that
pull
works.
it out. Yeah, pull out.
Isn't
that the same?
Pull out the cuts. So what else is going on? Oh, so let's talk about the Greek slap heard around the world.
Oh yeah, that's right.
I interviewed Giannis Magos.
I heard there's controversy about the interview. I'm getting emails from people who say that there was, in fact, an overall. So
well, let me lay out for our listeners who haven't been keeping up on the whole fiasco. A couple weeks ago, there was 2 shows in Greece. One was called the Diamond Cup, and one was called the Greek Cup. The Greek Cup took place on Friday, and a super heavyweight by the name of Giannis Magos won the overall, which earned him nothing other than a trophy. 2 days later, they do there's another show called the Diamond Cup in Greece, which is overseen by IFBB president Rafael Santoja. They were going to give a pro card. They're giving pro card to the overall winner of the men's, and Giannis competed again. He won the super heavyweight class, and the guy who won the heavyweight class, Christos, whatever his name was, went against him in the overall, and the decision was switched. So from Friday, Giannis won, and on Sunday, Christos won, and Giannis Magos went crazy, and he lost his mind and screaming at the judges, and he wound up smacking the MC of the show, knocking him down, and there was all kinds of cursing and yelling. And so, I mean, the thing was caught on video from 2 separate angles, and everyone pretty much in the industry has seen it pretty much. So if any of you guys haven't seen it, the video's all over the place. You can watch it. We have it replayed 400 times in that interview I did with him. So we contacted him. It took us a while. It took us over a week and a half, almost 2 weeks to get him to agree to do the interview. And he came on the show and on Live With this past week. And I asked him what happened. And he told me pretty much this. And he claims that the reason he was upset was because he won on Friday. And then on Sunday, when they after he won his class and they did the overall, that they just did quarter turns and they never did comparison shots. And then they just awarded the other guy the winner. And he felt that it was fixed, and they felt that Rafael Santoja had something to do with it. And I don't know if that's the truth. I wasn't there. I had a judge from the UK contact me telling me that there was comparisons done there. Whether there was or not, whether he should have won and he didn't, I don't. It's pretty weird that 2 days later the decision was the other way. Obviously,
well, let me play devil's advocate.
People can change in 2 days, though.
And listen. we went to the Arnold last year, right? The entire Earth. I'm kidding. We went to the Arnold, and Cedric was winning prejudging, right?
Right.
I remember seeing, just people I know after prejudging, and it was, quote, in the bag. I wonder where that saying came from, in the bag, for Cedric. And the night show was like 6 hours later, and, when Kai came out, I said, uh-oh, I think a gap was closed. 6 hours. Right. I mean, Kai went from, like, watery and flattish to, like, fuller and a lot tighter. So in 2 days, just to play devil's advocate, 2 days, I mean, that's a long time, right? People lose their...
Sure. Well, from the look of the video, he looked like he was still in shape. It was close, so I don't know. But I mean, I guess if you're with different judging panels, and I don't know if the judging panel was completely different. I would assume it was. You might get a different result. I've seen it happen before. Anyway,
Listen,
the point of the interview was that he was a poor loser. He was a bad sport, and I asked him if he was. I said, "Look, are you upset? Are you regretful, remorseful? Have you apologized to the guy?" He's like, "No, I'm not." I said, "Well, did that guy really deserve to get smacked? I mean, what did he do other than just be in the way essentially?" And he's like, "I don't care." I don't feel bad at all. No remorse. He goes, "I'm not going to compete in the IFBB anymore." And he doesn't give a shit, which to me is dangerous because, you know what? Look, you had 2 weeks to cool down. Think about it. I know you were upset with the IFBB, but why was that guy the scapegoat for you? And what gives you the right to put your hands on someone else? That was my argument. It had nothing to do with whether he should be suspended or not. I said, I don't think you should be suspended for life. I think that's a little harsh. I said, but the fact that you're not remorseful and you haven't even apologized is not going to bode well. And he doesn't seem to care. So,
well, there's
at least he was honest
Lee
with
Thompson's
us, right?
No, well, I mean, he can go to Lee Thompson's
well, they
program
have there and old WABA and all these other crazy organizations and
yeah, but you know what happens? You know what's the worst is like, say, hey Chris, what show did you win? I won the WABA Olympia. Right. And people are like, which one's that? And they'll say, is that the one with Phil Heath and Kai Greene? I said no. And they say, "Oh, then it doesn't really matter."
Right. Well, I told him, I said, "Don't you want to compete?" I mean, because theoretically, I mean, the guy is definitely pro material. I mean, he'll probably within the next year he would have gotten his pro card. I mean, especially since if it was that close, no one's going to screw him again. Obviously after whacking someone, I'm sure they would. But the point is that it was poorly handled, I thought, and I was trying to give him a venue to apologize. To basically, I guess clear up the fact that maybe, you know what, I was hot-headed, I lost my mind, I had temporary insanity, it happened so all. I'm sorry, I sent a box of chocolate to the freaking MC and with a sorry note. But no, he doesn't give a shit. He just doesn't care. He claims that he's been gotten, that it's happened to him before, so he just said he's fed up. So look, it's his right to feel that way, and no one could really stop it. Stop him from feeling that way, but then he also doesn't have to have the privilege to compete in the IFBB, which he seems to not want. But you know what it seems to happen, Chris? In my experience, a year, 6 months passes, and you start saying, I want to get back. And this interview he did with me is not going to bode well for him. Given the fact that he wasn't apologetic and he really didn't have any remorse for what he did. So,
well, you know who's got the best? Actually, one of the best lessons I learned from. In bodybuilding, and is from Dexter Jackson, which is, when a show doesn't go your way, his saying is you just smile and wave.
Don't take it personally. Don't take it so personally. That's what I tell people.
Granted, Dexter's won like 300 shows, so he's mostly smiling, waving, and cashing checks.
Yeah, exactly.
But, I'm sure there's multiple times where Dexter's been up on stage, right, and he thought he should have placed higher, and he can get frustrated and pissed, or he can go with the flow and smile and wave. And he actually gave that advice to Sean Roden once, and Sean told me that's Dexter's one of the sayings he lives by, and it there's a lot of wisdom in it, because you can't you talked about. I didn't think of that. 2 days later, there could be a different judging panel, and different judges have different opinions. I know the guy that you interviewed. He was peeled, so in his mind, he's probably thinking, I came in absolutely ripped to smithereens, so that is de facto enough to give me my pro card. And probably all his friends and his teammates and mentors and coaches and all that saying, hey, you're peeled, nobody can beat you. Right. And you get that in your head, but sometimes there's more to a bodybuilding show than just being peeled, especially when you change the judging panel. Different judges, some people might think it's, peeled but flat. Right. Yeah. Different judging panels see shows different ways.
Mm-hmm. You're right. You're 100% right. So, guys, that interview is available at RxMuscle.com and our YouTube channel, so you can check that out. I also interviewed Steve Orton this past weekend. Steve Ox Orton from New Zealand. He is a upcoming IFBB pro from there, kind of in the light of maybe Josh Lenarowitz. Had a good season. Not quite as good as Josh did, obviously, when in his first season, but kind of came out of nowhere. We'll probably see him again at there's a new show this year called the New Zealand Pro, which has been around. Mo El Moussaoui runs that show, but he's never had a men's open bodybuilding. I noticed he's having it this year right after the Arnold Classic, so that should be fun.
Let's see, I'm looking at the schedule. What is the prize money? Prize money's big for me.
They don't have the prize money listed for that show, but it's a small country, so I don't suspect it's going to be huge. They did release the schedule. You're right. And I see the Arnold Classic is the March 2nd through the 5th weekend, as it always does. The prize money is $320,000 for you, just so you know that. I don't see where's the Arnold Australia? Did they move it?
Maybe. No.
Yes,
17th to the 19th.
The week after the Arnold Classic is the New Zealand Pro, March 11th in Auckland, which I've been to before. And then the week after that is the Arnold Australia. So that's 2 weeks after the Arnold, and that's the prize money $75,000 for that. So, yeah, there's I guess New Zealand's going to take place in between, which is smart. Mo El Moussaoui is a genius because guys are going to probably just go over there and they'll just do it and then hang out there, for another week. Mm-hmm. On the same weekend as the New Zealand, there's the IFBB Hawaii Pro Bodybuilding over 40. They have a men's over 40 contest out there. Tim Garden is running. Tim's all over I got to be honest with you. I think I really worship the fact that Tim is got such a great work ethic, and he's in promoting shows like all over the place. But that's got to be like really hectic. Hawaii, that's a long flight.
Well, it's only half the distance to Australia.
There's a men's 212 over 40 too. He's having there.
Men's 212 over 40.
Yeah. And he's doing a Jose can do that.
I was just going to say, Jim, Jose's birthday, happy birthday, Jose. His birthday is on the 29th, mine is on the 30th. He's 32.
I was going to say, you're turning 50, aren't you?
50 years old.
I can't believe it. That's a big one, Chris. 50. I still got another year and a half, but that's a big one for you.
I know, it's crazy.
Are you
it's absolutely crazy.
Are you having any problems mentally with it?
None.
No.
None. What problems am I supposed to have?
I don't know. Some people, when they hit a certain age, they start feeling, different. I don't know.
I went through that at 25. No, I went through that. I'm serious. I had the midlife crisis on my 25th birthday.
You did.
I thought, I'm 25. That means I'm not 18. I'm halfway to 50, and I'm just, what am I doing, really? I thought that I should be, running for Congress or something by the time I was 25. No, I just didn't know. I didn't know what...
You know what? You bring up a good point, I'm sure we have a lot of listeners who feel this way. You think, I always said, I should write a book and I should be published and this and that. And I'm like, you know what the truth is? There's no, you should do this, you should do that. Do what makes you happy. Do what gives you pleasure on a daily basis. I enjoy covering bodybuilding and doing these radio shows and writing diets for people and going out and playing with my snakes and my fish tanks and stuff like that. I enjoy that. So why do I have to deprive myself of what I enjoy doing so that I could sit down and write a book that I'm not really looking forward to doing?
Yeah.
Or just because I think that posterity should have a book by Dave Palumbo out there, when I wanted to write a book, I'll write a book. I don't obviously want to write a book right now, so I find that people feel obligated to do things. There's no right or wrong. There's no like if you didn't win the presidency of the United States, you're unsuccessful. You didn't become a Hollywood actor because you wanted to get into acting. You're not successful. No, it's just whatever gives you pleasure. That's the most important thing. And I think that a lot of people are afraid to just do what they enjoy doing. Just do it. If you like drinking beer on the couch watching football, do that. Enjoy it. Enjoy life. That's what life's about. There's no when you're dead, no one's going to say, "Oh, let's take inventory. Let's look at your resume over the course of your life, and we'll evaluate whether you had a productive life or not." No, it's not about that. It's about enjoying it while you're here. Because you know what? We see it all the time, Chris. People's life cut short overnight. We didn't even, who thought? Oh, we didn't think this guy. Look at what's his name? The Iranian guy. What was his name?
Baito.
Who the hell thought this guy was going to die? But you know what? Thank God, at least he competed in bodybuilding and won a show and won a couple shows and enjoyed himself while he was here. Because you know what? He had a short life. I'm sure you and I are doomed to be here for 100 years, and suffer. But a lot of these guys are not. And that's so you got to enjoy it while you're here. Don't worry about it and feel obligated to do things because you think that's the right thing to do, or your parents want you to do it, or your spouse wants you to do it, or you think internally you should be doing something. Just live life. That's it. You want to go out and...
That's great. No, it's great. It's tremendous. It's good advice. I mean, it's so simple. But it's it's so simple. It's complex because life is for a lot of people. I mean, for everyone, life is it's there's a lot of responsibilities and a lot of challenges and a lot of ups and a lot of downs, and you have to, as Dexter Jackson would say, smile and wave. You have to know how to navigate that without creating so much internal stress that you have you develop mental issues.
I remember my dad wanted to buy. He was talking about buying a convertible car his whole life. I love convertibles. I said, Dad, you got money in the bank. This was 25 years ago. I'm like, go buy a car. Go buy a car.
Yeah, why wouldn't you?
And I'm like, my dad never had owned a new car. He always bought like used cars because he thought it was better value. I talked to him and we went to Mitsubishi, bought a Mitsubishi Eclipse convertible. While he could enjoy it, he loved that car. He would put the top down. He would drive to the beach. I said, Dad, this is what life's. What are you saving the money for? I don't want it. Don't save it for when you're dead. First of all, you'll probably live another 50 years, which was the case. And so I said, enjoy yourself. And so I think a lot of people are just afraid, they can't have to. And my dad and your dad probably comes from that poverty background.
I used to listen. My father wouldn't want to spend money. So you know what I'd tell him to try to get through to him. I'd call him up on the phone and say, Dad, I need a forward on my inheritance. And they'd be like, what? And I said, the money that you're not spending, which you should be spending, you're going to croak. And you're going to leave it to your kids, so you're not spending it. I just need a forward on my inheritance.
Send it over, yeah.
Send it over. I said, okay, then you go spend it because you know what? What do you have it for? Yeah. Well, but that's not to say either. Too, you don't. I don't want to tie together the idea that you need to spend money just to enjoy things and have a good time because it doesn't take a lot of money to enjoy things and right. Have a good time. Mike Katz told me that a long time ago in a limousine on driving with Mike Matarazzo, who's also dead. Yeah. Who's also passed away. Katz said, you don't need a lot of money to enjoy things.
Yep. The people around you are more important than the money.
Yeah, but I would like to have the right people and all the money, too.
That's true.
I would like to have the best people. Who do I sell? Trump. The best people and all the money.
That's right. So you're going to be down in Florida, huh? You're going to
escape the winter? I leave. Yep, I escaped the frozen pipe syndrome tomorrow, and I go to Florida for 3 weeks.
That's awesome.
And then I come back, and I decided to turning 50. I'm taking the family out for like 2 weeks for a California trip in February.
Oh wow, cool. What part of California?
Well, we've landed in Los Angeles. We have no plans yet, so. Wow. We don't know where we're staying. We don't know what we're doing.
You're going to take them to the Mecca? You're going to have your kids train with Charles Glass?
My wife said you got to take the oldest because he's a bodybuilding fanatic. He's not a bodybuilding fanatic, but he knows all the players.
Right.
that was because Jose had given Jose. This is a true story. Jose, or was it Jose or Jay? He met, and I think it might have been Jay or Jose. Anyways, one of them gave my oldest son the DVD like Battle for the Olympia.
Oh, really? That's funny.
So the second we got, I mean, he had to be like 7, you know, and he got through the door and he put it on, and like Phil and Kai, you know, that was it. Right? It's like superheroes come to life.
Yeah, yeah. And he liked it
And
at 7 years old?
I mean, like 4 days later, he was like, well, you know, Kai this, and what about Phil? And, you know, Dennis Wolf. And I'm like, how do you know these people? He said, from the video that I got.
There's a viral video up on Facebook of a kid watching, in the Rocky movie where he does the training montage where they're playing the music, the dum dum.
Oh, I've seen that. Yes.
See, and the kid
it's unbelievable.
Watched it 600 times. He knows every move and every facial expression of that scene. He acts it out like while watching this big screen TV. It's really funny. I love it. But that's what kids are. You know, they don't have anything else on their mind. They have plenty of space in their head. They can memorize anything. They spend enough time on it.
Unlike and then you turn 50 and you don't know what you did with your key.
You don't even know your name anymore. I call the cat. I call the cat Logan. I call my son Logan. I call him the Jedi. The cat's name. I can't remember anything.
Well, I was one of 5 kids, so my mother used to just run through, including aunts and uncles. You know, she'd say, Duraco, Alberto, Teresa, Marie, Chris. You know, she'd eventually get us.
Especially when they're.
She'd say and then her rule was, when I raise my voice, you say yes. That was her rule, because she couldn't remember my name because she had too many things on her mind.
All right, you know what? We're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we'll continue talking about the 2017 contest season, and we got some other good events coming up as well. So, guys, stay tuned. We'll be back in 2 minutes.
A legendary name in hardcore supplementation. Iron Mag Labs. 100% original, patent-pending andro compounds. The most effective, hardcore, groundbreaking bodybuilding supplements in the world. Iron Mag Labs. Revolutionizing hardcore supplementation for more than a decade. Visit ironmaglabs.com. ironmaglabs.com.
Hi, I'm Dave Palumbo, and I just had a protein shake made with Quest Nutrition's new salted caramel protein powder. And I can tell you this, it's on a whole new level. It's a total reinvention of the protein shake. The taste is incredible, and its creamy texture and richness make it taste like a real caramel milkshake. It's incredibly low carb, less than 1 gram of sugar, and 22 grams of protein in every serving. No soy, and it's gluten-free. Just add water, ice, a scoop of protein, and shake it up. It's that easy. I actually look forward to drinking this shake. And Quest Nutrition has got a total of 7 different flavors. They come in convenient single-serving packets so you can mix and match. Check out loveyourproteinpowder.com for more information on Quest protein powders and some delicious shake inspirations. Welcome back to Heavy Muscle Radio. I'm Dave Palumbo, talking with Chris, the technician Aceto, on this December 19th day. And so you're leaving, Chris. You're coming to Florida for the holidays, which is a smart move. I think, get out of that freezing cold. I'm trying to figure out how I can come down and meet up with you. Because, Logan is not the greatest traveler. Although I actually have to. This is a true story. I have to go to Miami to pick up. Believe it or not, I ordered some boa constrictors from the Netherlands, and the guy I ordered them from, his name is Freek Nut. Now, his first name Freek is spelled F-R-E-E-K, like freak, almost like bodybuilding freak. So he's sending me these snakes. I have to pick them up from Miami because that's where they come in through the port. You know, you have to clear customs and all this stuff, and so. I might be in your area on Thursday or Friday, so I might,
with or without snakes.
yeah. I may have to come early and see you, and then go get the snakes. I don't know if your wife would be too happy if I show up with a box of snakes.
Yeah. We can't find it. Where's the snake? It's in the condo somewhere. I don't know. Don't worry. He's got the snakes get their shots like dogs and stuff, so they can't.
No, they do need a vet checkup on his end before they're sent over, but they don't really communicate. They don't really carry diseases or anything like that. And it's captive. It's like breeding like a dog or a cat. They're not. It's like they're hanging out outside. These are not wild caught snakes. They're captive bred. So I thought that was funny. But we'll try to meet up with you while you're down here. Since our families have never coalesced together except for you and me.
Yeah, it might be the meeting of
I don't know if
it's like a cabinet meeting.
Yeah, I was gonna say it might be too much.
My kids do whenever they meet like adults, they put on their best airs like they're meeting Obama, and so that the adults can say, "We've never met such well-behaved children in our lives." And then the second those adults that they don't know are no longer around, they go into bickering and fighting.
Oh boy! So I have just to remind people, January 14th. That's Saturday, January 14th. I have the Secrets to Becoming a Diet Guru class. I'll be holding at Hardcore Fitness in conjunction with Derek Farnsworth, who helped me organize this whole event. To be honest with you, I've probably sold more than half the seats already. And so if you want to take this thing, and I know a lot of guys out on the West Coast want to take it, even guys from Hawaii coming, because it's not too bad of a flight, you better sign up at DavePalumbo.com as soon as possible, because like I said, once it fills up, we just don't have any room left. So there is limited seating. So I just check it out. For those of you who don't know, I'm sure you've heard me talk about it. It's a 10-hour class. I talk about diet, supplementation, performance-enhancing drugs, steroids, growth hormone, insulin, site injection oils, detoxification, last week contest prep, diets, off-season, pre-contest, men, women. It's basically a college education in one day. And a lot of people have I have two guys actually taking it for the second time in this class. They wanted to get another reboot of it, because sometimes it's so much information that it's nice to hear it a second time. So and when I teach these courses, it's always something different. I never do the same course twice, because I'm always picking up new information and I present it in a different way. And so I'm sure you guys will love that. So that's on the 14th. On January 28th, I will be up in New York, back to New York to the snow with Johnny Styles for Bros vs. Pros 29 at ProFit Gym in Deer Park. That's the old Deer Park Gold's Gym. You'll see our old friend Jerry Scalisi and all the crew up there. Akeem Williams will be representing the IFBB pros in the deadlift for reps contest and the bench press for reps. It's open to the public, free to watch, free to enter. Prize money being given away, a couple $1,000 we got. The men will be bench pressing 225 for reps. They'll be deadlifting 315 for reps. We do a 1-rep max at the end, and then the women will be Colette Nelson will be representing the women. They'll be doing 160 deadlifts, and they'll be doing 60% of their body weight on the bench press. So I can't believe we've done 29 of these things already. So that's Bros vs. Pros 29 in Deer Park, New York. That's on the 28th of January. Plus, Alex Luca, who owns the gym, she's amazing. She's going to have a barbecue and free food and all kinds of. We'll have a species nutrition booth. We're doing sampling. It's a fun day. It's definitely a fun day. So you guys are going to. And there's nothing really going on in January, so it's a great event to come to if you're in the area and to enter, because you could win money. And I know there's a lot of big heavy hitters out there. I know Big Shep Ali Alston from Jersey. Hopefully he'll be coming in, trying to redeem his loss to Chris Lentino last time in that bench press. Akeem Williams, can anyone beat him? He'll be in his off season, so he'll be very dangerous. Matter of fact, I think he's putting off his trip to the Oxygen Gym there, Kuwait. Bader Badai. I told him, call Bader up, say you got to come a week later, because I need you for Bros vs. Pros. So that'll be a fun event, Chris. And what else is going on?
What was the first year you started Bros vs. Pros?
I don't even remember, but I will tell you this. It was a joke, because Jeff, the producer who worked for me at the time, he had like these really strong biceps and he had no triceps but big biceps, and he was always saying how strong he was. And Mike Liberatore at the time, I was working with him, and he had some of the best arms I think ever in bodybuilding. And I'm like, Mike, your arm strong? He goes, yeah, hell yeah. So I said, why don't we have a lift off between you and Jeff at the gym? I said, we'll call it Bros vs. Pros. And John Romano and I came up with the name, and it caught on. We did. That was it. It was just the two of them. That was it. We filmed the two of them at Bev Francis Powerhouse Gym. and curling the 100-pound dumbbells, and it was a pretty damn good event. You could watch it. It's still on RxMuscle.com, and it was exciting. And I believe Jeff won. He edged out Liberatore there.
So the bro, he was the bro.
Yeah, it was a good event. And then we did the second one there, 2 bench press. We had Ben White, and then the third one was Jose Raymond. He was a week out from a show, and he did 30 reps with 405 on the squat and won that.
Yeah, one. I never knew that. He had texted me once, and he said that he had beaten. Let's see. The text was, "I smoked all your guys at Bros versus Pros," because I guess there was people who I would be helping in the future. Was like Brad Rowe. He beat like 3 guys.
If you saw how many people were in that lineup, it was an all-star lineup. Everyone was like just up and coming.
That's why he said. That's what that.
Akeem, Marco Rivera was there. Caden Vu, Dave Smith. It was like seriously. If you watch that video, the Bros vs. Pros 3, you will be like, holy mackerel! There's a lot of top pros here.
And do you still have that on video?
Yeah, of course. It's on the RxMuscle website.
Yeah, post it up. I got to
put it. Maybe I'll put it on YouTube, like a replay, because it was a star-studded event. And Jose, like I said, was a week out, and he drove down the night before. I put him in a hotel, and he kicked ass, and he went home with money too. And it just goes to show you his blue collar work ethic. It was great.
He probably would have said, "I would have done the same exact workout in the gym 1 week out. I might as well pick up $2,000 for it."
Exactly.
Against these wimps.
Well, back then he was very competitive, and he still, he wasn't 40. He was in his 30s. He was in the prime of his life. So he was like, "Fuck that, this is easy."
Oh, he's still. Wait a minute, he's in the prime still. Jose, you're in your prime. Go ahead.
Think about it, though. I'm going to sneeze. Think about it.
Gesundheit.
Back then we were crazy. We were doing 405 for reps on a squat. You know how dangerous that is. I had the first guy who went. Oh, he couldn't do 1 rep. He almost killed himself. I was like, maybe we shouldn't do this.
What's the liability?
Well, 405 is a lot. Nowadays, if I did squat, I'd probably do 315. We used to do deadlift 405 too, but I mean, you really got hardcore guys because that's a lot of weight. Think about it, 405 for reps. How many people can do that?
Yeah.
But 30 reps is very impressive. Try it. I could never do it, and I was very strong back in the day with squats. I couldn't do 30 reps. The endurance aspect of it alone is ridiculous. Now, granted, Jose's legs are a little shorter than everyone, but he also was contest dieting, so he had no body fat on him. It was like a Ronnie Coleman type of.
He'll like that compliment.
Put out.
Ronnie Coleman. Hear that, Jose? Ronnie Coleman and you in the same sentence.
I don't know if Ronnie could have done 405 for 30 reps.
You have to ask Jose. He'll tell you right out.
Yeah.
Yes or no if he could.
He'll text me once he hears this.
I'm sure he will.
So, we were talking about the schedule. Let me go back to the schedule.
Yeah, 29th Bros versus Pros in January.
Right, but I want to go back to the contest schedule. So, the first show, last year they had the Livroni Classic. I guess there is no Livroni Classic this year. I guess after he bombed at the Olympia, maybe the promoters pulled the plug on the show. I don't know. I have a few more people hate me because of that. But so Arnold will be the leadoff show of the year on March 2nd through the 5th. And that'll follow up by New Zealand, and the Hawaii Pro will be on the same day as New Zealand. Then obviously the Greene and Aceto show, which was also early. It was much earlier this past year. It was in February. Now it's March 25th. They're doing an over 40 open. And then the Arnold Australia will be the 17th that same weekend there. And then we don't have another pro show till the Arnold Classic South America, which is going to be April 21st this year, which is, I think, Arnold South America was called Arnold Brazil last year. But they're calling it Arnold South America now, and they moved it from Rio de Janeiro to Sao Paulo now, which is supposedly a nicer city. So,
yeah, more traffic, no beach.
And then South Africa is like 2 weeks later after that. That's in May. So they really did change the schedule around quite a bit this year. What else? Let me see what's next after that. South Africa. Then
you got the California Men's Pro and the Toronto on the same day.
Yeah. See, New York Pro is May 17th or May 20th?
New York Pro, 17th. May 20th is New York Pro.
And then California Pro is the 27th, which is right.
So is the
same
Toronto.
day as the Toronto show, which is kind of silly, but there's only so many weekends in a year. Puerto Rico is June 4th.
Couldn't one of those shows be scheduled on a Sunday so all the guys could fly from? If you win the California Pro on a Saturday, you get on a plane.
These guys
and you fly to Toronto.
They're too lazy. Can you imagine telling Cedric that? Cedric, you're going to get on a plane and you're going to go compete the next day. He'd be like, I'm going to eat.
Yeah.
They have the Puerto Rico Pro on the 4th, and they're only doing men's over 40. I don't know why they're doing that. They must be giving free sanctions away for the Masters because that's the only reason I think these guys are doing them. Chad Nichols has got a Muscle Mayhem men's open show this year on June 17th, so that's going to be a big one for him. You got Chicago. There's a Chicago over 40. I wonder if that's Tim Gardner's show. Why does it say over 40 on June 30th? Don't they have a...
It's got to be both. It's got to be... because you see the 20 grand for first, right. 20 grand for the men, and over 40, no prize money.
Right. August 12th is San Antonio Pro, men's over 40. Tim Gardner's it's got to be the most prolific promoter now. He's in every show he's doing.
Yeah, he's got the Tampa Pro with over 40.
Yeah. Arnold to Asia will be August 18th in Hong Kong. Mr. Olympia this year will be the 14th through the 17th. And then they got the Arnold Europe the week after that.
Yeah, Tim Gardner everywhere, right?
Look at the Titan Medical. Speaking of Titan Medical is sponsoring the IFBB Hurricane Pro Men's Over 40 in Tampa. That must be it's a different show. Speaking of Titan Medical, they sent me TitanMedicalCenter.com is a rejuvenation clinic in Tampa, Florida. I've been dealing with them for the last 6 months. They are amazing. They have great service, great products, everything American made, pharmacies. The great thing about the Titan Medical Center is that you do not have to go there in person. You can do Skype sessions with the doctor. You can get your hormone replacement prescribed for you, testosterone, HCG. They even give DECA for bad joints. Women can get some Anavar, Arimidex. They have injectable vitamins. I've been using the injectable vitamins because I'm not taking any kind of hormone replacement now because we're still trying to have another baby. And I've been taking their Titan Complete, which is basically a big shot of leucine in there. There's all kinds of antioxidants in there. And there's amino acids. So when I get home from the gym, I take that shot. I can turn on mTOR. I got to turn mTOR on. And I like it. I've been using it, and I also use their injectable glutathione because I believe it's a terrific antioxidant. And those things, actually, the vitamin injections, you don't even need to get a prescription for. You don't even need to go for blood work. You can just contact them and buy them from them, I think, once you're a patient. But if you want to get hormone replacement, it's a no-brainer. There's so many guys out there that want to go on hormone replacement. They don't know where to go. This is just call up TitanMedicalCenter.com. Go to the website, get the address, and when you call them up, tell them Dave Palumbo, RxMuscle sent you, and they'll give you a big discount. And when you do that, it's super easy. They send you for blood work right by your house. Go to Quest Diagnostics or LabCorp. The results get sent right to them. They make an appointment. You talk to the doctor via Skype, and you tell him what you want. And he tells you what he can prescribe for you, and they just send it to you. They mail it to you. It's great. Super convenient.
What about the vitamin injections? Are they, what's it, like a water-based type thing?
It's water-based. Yeah, you shake them up. And some have to be kept in the refrigerator, some not. The amino acids don't go in the refrigerator, but the glutathione is in the refrigerator. And, look, they give you, it's like a 30 cc bottle. You take 1 cc a day. I don't take it every day. I take the one with the high amounts of branched-chain amino acids. I take that after I train when I get back from the gym, and I take the other one maybe every other day. So, just because I'm not performing at the elite level. But I think, look, if I was competing, if I was back in the day and I was competing, I would be on this stuff every single day. I'd be taking my shots of this stuff because you know what? It can't hurt. People suck down these branched-chain amino acids all day. You take one shot of this, it's better than probably 6 servings of a branched-chain amino acid product. So it's going right into the bloodstream. You know it's going in. When you ingest something, you have to assume you're absorbing it. You don't really know for sure if you are. So check out TitanMedicalCenter.com. Also, we got I noticed the Ferrigno Legacy Classic is back again also. That's on November 18th. That'll close out the year. I'm sure there's some shows that are not on here. I'm sure the San Marino will be back as well. I don't see it listed on the schedule yet, but it just ended, so they probably haven't got the date yet for that. That's John Enrico Pica. So a lot of good stuff coming up in 2017. It should be a busy season. Classic, physique has really taken off. I think that's going to be, when we did our Iron Debate show and we were doing some predictions for 2017. One of the things I said was I think the classic physique division is going to be the most exciting division in all of bodybuilding for 2017 because I think we have new talent. It's just starting to be culled and developed, and I think we know the players in all the other divisions. But I think the men's classic is still a wild card. What do you think?
I think you're. I missed it on the show. I mean, I've been pumping up classic for a long time. Meaning, I thought that. I think 6 years from now, we're going to be seeing, maybe 3 years from now, at the NPC Nationals, 90 guys in the Classic division and like 12 in the 18 in the Open division. Mm-hmm. That's and I forgot about that, and you hammered that home on the show the other day by making the statement that Classic is the big excitement for 2017. I think you're right.
I think that we're going to see some new stars emerge in this division, and it's going to that's exciting. Sometimes when things are pretty much the same. I mean, let's face it. Who's going to go in the Arnold this year? Who do you think will be in that show? Do you know anyone? Do you have any players? Is Cedric doing it?
No, Cedric.
Not doing it.
Dwight, nope. No, Roden's not doing it. They're not going to have a big lineup. You get some. I don't know who's doing it.
I know that Dexter said he's not competing to the Olympia, so that he won't be in that lineup. I don't know if Dennis Wolf is coming back, like you said.
Yeah, he's supposed to be. When I interviewed him, he said he had planned to start his prep like that week, and that was right after the Olympia.
Right. Cedric's got to do it because Arnold loves Cedric. That would be crazy not to do it for him. Who else in the Olympia lineup will be there?
That's what I'm. 1, 2, 3, and 4 aren't going to be there.
I bet Baiki will be there.
Rolly will be there, and Nathan will be there.
I bet Baiki will be there. I bet you, what's his name? William Bonac will probably be there. The placing at the Olympia so high.
Those guys will be there. So it'll be Rolly, Nathan, Baiki.
Baiki could win the whole thing if he comes in shape.
Let's see.
He could be the wild card.
He could be a wild card. The wild card. Yeah, he could.
And now that he's training with the One True Guru, I mean, he's probably got a better chance.
He's at his best. I mean, he worked with George, and he was at his best for the. I thought he was better at the Arnold. I mean, the Olympia Europe than he was from judging by pictures than he was in Italy. Yeah. He might have been fuller in Italy, but I think he was tighter.
And it was a weaker lineup too. So.
Yeah, and Bonac, of course. Bonac will be in the show, and he's beaten everybody but Phil and Kai.
Which is amazing when you think about it, right?
Yeah.
What about Big Rami? Will Big Rami be doing it, or he's skipping?
He's skipping it for sure.
Okay, because I know he had some knee issues. He had some, a little knee surgery?
Yeah, he had knee surgery, and, the chicken crew was, they're what's it called when the circle in the wagons. The wagons are circling.
What is that?
Isn't that a saying? The wagons are circling.
I know the vultures are circling, but I never heard of the
same thing.
Okay.
Same thing.
All right, so everyone's trying to see what happened to him, and if he's going to be back and better than ever. In other words.
Well,
What about Kai? Will Kai be doing it? I don't think he'll be doing it.
No, I don't think Kai will be doing it.
From the car ride I had, a lot of people asked me about it. I told everyone I had a 2-hour car ride to the airport with Kai Greene from San Marino to the Bologna airport. Everyone wanted to know what we were talking about. He seems to be very, very busy with a lot of projects. I don't see any way he could possibly do the Arnold this year. I don't think he'll even compete in 2017. To be honest with you, I think he's got too much going on.
Well, I mean, it's what do you got to prove? I guess
Sure.
not. I mean, you got shows you can win, but there's a difference between having already won the Arnold. I don't know how many. He's won it. And he's been runner-up in the Olympia, 2-3 times.
The money's not so bad either. I mean, you're winning it. The Arnold gives a nice paycheck. I mean, he could probably jump in there and win that if he wanted to, even though he almost didn't win it last year. Now, the question I don't know, and I should have texted someone before the show. We can talk about this on the future show, but will they be judging the scoring? Will they be scoring the opposing round again this year at the Arnold Classics? Or are they going to do away with it? No one's said anything about that. So,
well, if they continue to judge it, then they think it's good for the sport, and I guess if they don't judge it, then they feel that last year was a debacle.
Yeah, I don't know. They might just let it go away quietly.
We've talked about it ad nauseum. I would just like to see, first place get an award, a monetary award, money.
Have a top three.
No, I was going to say in second, first and second, or maybe top three, but first and second.
Top three posing rounds, posing routines get some prize money. Take some of the prize money away from the first place. You don't have to take a lot away. Take $15,000 away. Give 5. Give 10 for the first place. You give 7 and 5 or something like that.
Because you have to have an incentive to have a good routine. Otherwise, people are just going to come out and walk to the left, walk to the right. Let their gut hang out and put their hand over their head and hope that the audience, when they wave.
Yeah, they're gonna put their hand to the ear. Come on, give me applause, applause. As
beg for applause.
Begging for applause. Yeah.
I mean, there's still people with very good routines who aren't, quote, getting paid for it. But I just think that if you gave a monetary award at a big show like that for first, second, and third, you insulate yourself from the criticism for the judging, and that's what happened last year. We had this whole post-show, how much did the judging of the posing round count for the overall winner?
Well, it helped Kai win, and it helped Jose lose last year. Right?
Exactly. Jose's thinking that as he's listening to the show.
I know, but it's the truth.
I know.
And Jose's a good poser. That's the funny thing. But Hide's a very good poser. So
yeah.
Anyway, there's nothing really to say about it anymore. I mean, it is what it is. John Romano and I did a great Iron Rage on steroid profiling in bodybuilders in the Scandinavian countries. Someone sent me a letter, Chris. Well, Rick Collins first put an article out about how they're steroid profiling, when they can just go into a gym, or they can pull you off the street and arrest you and say you look like you're taking steroids just because you're big, and they can take you down to the station. You have to submit to a drug test, and if you come back positive for steroids, then they could fine you. They could put you in jail up to a year.
They don't have bigger problems in
listen,
what country?
This is not crazy. This guy,
what country,
has been fined $1,000 twice because he failed 2 drug tests. He was almost put in jail, but they actually gave him community service, and he lost his driver's license because of this. He said, "I don't
because
even
want to bodybuild
anymore because he was
too big,
looked too jacked." Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like, no one will wear tank tops or anything showing any body parts anymore over there because they don't.
What country? Give me the country again.
Well, it's like Sweden, Denmark, all those Scandinavian countries.
Gosh, they must have no problems going on in that country to.
Yeah. So John and I did an Iron Rage about how outrageous it is, and how it's taking away people's freedoms. And really, the bottom line, the take-home message after John and I did the show is that we're lucky. People think, oh, this country sucks. Donald Trump, we got to take days off from work so we can sulk about Donald Trump winning the election. We get the best country in the world. We have all the rights. No one, they would never pull that crap in this country.
Yeah.
All the gun nuts can have all their guns. No one's taking away anyone's guns, even though they say they're gonna. No one's taking anyone's guns. We have a lot of privileges, in this country.
Just don't burn the flag.
That's right. Oh, you gotta, look.
Trump wants to take his citizenship away if you burn the flag.
I
don't think so. I think he just likes to push buttons. But go ahead.
I do. Just like he's not indicting Hillary Clinton. People just like to. They take for granted what they got. Go over to another country, hang out there for a week or two, and then you'll run back.
Ever.
You'll run back.
Ever.
You'll never want to leave.
Dave, I know things have changed a lot. And you can go to all kinds of countries that are far more like, quote, they might be smaller countries, but they, you can fly into a different country and say, well, this airport is way better than the airport in, let's say, LaGuardia. Every country has its beauty and its strengths and this and that. But I know from flying to different parts of the world, early 90s, very early 90s, I used to come back and just think, God, I up our taxes, because in my mind I used to think infrastructure and law and order are built and supported with taxes. You know what I mean? Police, fire, because you go to a country back then at least, and there'd be a fire, and the fire department would show up, after the building's completely burnt and before the other buildings were burned. You can go to any town in, New Hampshire or, Wyoming, and the fire starts and the fire department's there within, before damage can be done. And, that's all supported through taxes. So I agree with you, meaning, we have a lot of privileges, a lot of rights, and a lot of stability, which, a lot of places in the world don't have. Yeah. We have predictability, too. We have institutions.
Well, when you see something like bodybuilding being taken away from people, that hits home, I think, for a lot of our listeners, because God forbid we take your steroids away, we take your right. Even John said, steroids might be illegal to traffic and buy here, but they're not illegal to use. So if you have steroids, no one can come to your house and say you're arrested because you use steroids. Well, as long as I'm not shooting them in the middle of Times Square, or I'm selling them to someone online, you're not committing a crime. So we do have a lot of. Maybe you can get an official from the government on Iron Debate with you and Romano. Yeah, I bet you Trump could give it. I bet you Trump's on probably hormone replacement, guaranteed.
Well, he's 70, dude. He sleeps. You got to give. How much energy does the guy have, right?
No, he's good. He looks. He looks great for his age too.
I know he does. He looks great. He's got tons of energy. He's everywhere all the time. He's picking fights with everyone all the time. All that stuff takes energy, in addition to business. And...
He looks the same as he did 10, 15 years ago.
No, he's aged. He has aged. You know what? He has aged in the last 5. He is 70, right?
Yeah. Well, the election takes a lot out of you too, and the presidency. The presidency will age him at least 20 years. So.
That was the beginning of his incredible digs on his opponents when he labeled Jeb Bush as low energy, because he is low energy, but the opposite is Trump is beyond high energy. Yeah. So it just...
Speaking of old age, Dr. Heimlich died. The guy who invented... Henry Heimlich, who invented the Heimlich maneuver.
I saw this tape when I was 14 with the victory maneuver. I almost choked to death.
Oh, really? Someone saved you with it?
My father did.
Really? So you owe your father big. What'd you get stuck in your throat?
I had a fish bone stuck in my throat.
Fish bone?
And it was the tiniest... it was it was just lodged perfectly where I couldn't speak, I couldn't breathe, and I went flying into my living room, and my parents were looking at me like, "What's he?" And that was making me frustrated. I'm like, God, I'm going to die right here.
Because they don't.
And I wrote on a piece of paper, "I'm choking."
You had the wherewithal to do that?
I didn't know sign language, so I was
you didn't
not
point at your throat?
Dave, I was pointing to my throat, and you know what? It was the most frustrating. My parents were like, "What is he? What?"
It was like what? It was like charades. It was like one of those games.
Part of it is my parents
like Rocky movies.
It had to be 8:30 at night. It was a summer night. It was hot, and my parents used to go in and mix wine with soda.
We talked about that.
Cheap wine and soda in the living room, and they'd relax at night. So they're probably half, in the bag.
Yeah.
And I had to write on a note, "I'm choking," and my father Heimlicked me, and it was like, that's how I know what the Heimlich. That's how I knew. That's the first time I heard Heimlich maneuver when I was 14.
And they didn't call it that. Your dad. That was just the way the Italians.
That was something Italians did, I guess.
Yeah, they knew the Heimlich maneuver way before Heimlich invented it. I'm sure.
Yeah.
Did I ever tell you that I gave myself the Heimlich maneuver once? Did I ever tell you the story? It's a true story.
How do you do that?
I'll tell you how I did it. I think probably 300-something pounds, and I was eating something too fast, and I'm trying to remember what it was that got stuck in my throat. It might have been an ice cube, to be honest with you. But I think I'm confusing that with another time. One time I had an ice cube I swallowed by accident, and I think it went into my lungs. but it's so.
My father had
Right.
a giant steak in his lungs. We'll
We'll go back to that. So I don't remember what it was that got stuck in me, but I don't think there was anyone around, and I remember taking a class where they said if there's no one around, you can throw your body against something so that your sternum will, and I realized I'm so heavy, probably I can give it to myself. So I lunged forward into the couch. And the first time it didn't work. The second time it worked, and whatever was in my mouth, it was like a projectile. It went flying out of my mouth, and it hit the wall on the opposite side of the room. And I was so proud of myself that I saved my own life. So, but
oh, what a hero! Saved his own life.
And no one was around. There was no video cameras back then, like where people could say, like where someone.
Yeah, put on YouTube and bring the
right.
You bring the YouTube RxMuscle. You could post it up now if you had it and put it on YouTube and bring up the RxMuscle subscription to 300,000 overnight.
There you go.
Why don't you do this? Having said that, you need to put in the plug for the RxMuscle
YouTube
channel.
Yeah, well,
Yes.
we're climbing. My goal is 75,000 by the end of the year. We're at I think 67,000. So I need all the listeners out there. I need all the people who watch the YouTube channel to really hit subscribe if you haven't, to really push us to that level. I think we can do it. It's a big goal. I know that we've made some tremendous strides. I mean, we just got to 50 at the Olympia. I mean, so we're really piling on these subscriptions daily, and I know a lot of people really love what we're doing out there, and that's motivates me to do more. So the more subscribers I see, the more I'm going to do. The more new.
Dave, I'm going to be in Florida for New Year's.
Okay.
Why don't I tell my wife and you tell your wife that we're going to do like a Jerry Lewis telethon, and you're going to do 48 hours. You're not going to sleep, and you can do live broadcasting until you get 100,000.
There you go. That probably would work, but we'd probably both be divorced at that point. So.
Yeah, the point is they can get together and both be universally critical of our workaholic status.
That's right. Anyway, so Dr. Heimlich dies at 96. We celebrate his life. There's probably been a lot of people out there whose lives have been saved, including Chris Aceto's by the Heimlich maneuver.
Yes.
So,
yeah.
On that note, we'll say a moment of silence, and then we will go and say, I was thinking, I thought this was the last show of 2016, but it's not. Next week is. So
Yeah.
we can't say that. More. Next week we'll do the best of. We got to come up with some best of 2016s. If anyone has any great ideas, email them over to me at huge285@AOL.com for next week's show. Best of 2016. Chris, enjoy your flight over to Miami and the warm weather that we're all having here in Florida. I am enjoying it every day of my life, and I can't be happier about that. And so with that, I'll say good night, everyone. Remember, with Heavy Muscle Radio,
the truth hurts.